Hi guys, Blake here with Lilley's Landing Resort and Marina on beautiful upper Lake Taneycomo. It is Thursday, June the 11th of 2020, and this is the One Cast. Tonight I am looking for a big brown. So I'm going to be throwing the Signature Series 110+1 rainbow to start off with. I might switch to a different color here in a little bit. I'm actually right here below the Cooper Creek flat. You got all these personal docks here, and then this is the last dock, and I'm going to start right here on the bluff. Probably do some moving the boat around tonight on the One Cast because I want to hit a few different spots down this way. These are just some of the areas where we've been finding some bigger brown trout. So I kind of go over the spots I go to and where I work it here, or how I work it. Okay, no fish on the One Cast. With this retrieve, with this 110, I'm throwing this on a rod that was designed by Dwayne and Mike Riffle, and Mike Riffle was the one who built it, but they came up with an idea for a rod for specifically throwing these 110 model baits to get the maximum action out of the littlest effort. So that's the type of rod I'm using. Lew's makes a rod called the, oh gosh, I'm not going to remember it now. Laser SG IM6. The one I have is a 6-foot model. It's a medium backbone with a fast action tip, and it works very well. It's not too terribly expensive. You got to work it quite a bit harder to get the same action. I know a lot of people who throw jerk baits like to throw it on a bait caster. So just get, if this is something you're looking to do, get you and you like using a bait caster, get something with a medium backbone and a fast action tip. So some things about working this jerk bait: the slower the water, the faster you need to work the jerk bait to get those browns to react to it. When you've got the fast moving water, the water kind of pushes the jerk bait and gives it its own speed. But whenever there's no water running or little water running, you have to work this quite a bit faster. Okay, so right now I'm working the bluff down below those personal docks, and I want to throw it right up against the bank. Now this is, just for most cases, especially if you're working a bluff where the water gets really deep really fast. You want to get it as close to the bank as you can, because you want it to start diving right there on the edge and get down where those browns are set and get in front of their face. If you don't cast far enough in, you may not get their attention. Now that's just a rule for most of the time when the water's running faster. Now with this water running, I don't know if that was a fish or if I was hung on a log. I have no moss. That might have been a fish. However, when the water's running this slow, especially downstream here, it's almost at a standstill. The brown trout will start to, that's definitely a tree. The brown trout will start to move out from holding next to the bank, and sometimes you'll have them bite way out here next to the boat. So put some distance between you and the bank. But with the water moving this slow, I want to cover as much ground as possible, because the best times for fishing these brown trout are like the first 2-3 hours of the day and the last 1 to 2 hours of light. So with the water moving this slow, I'm actually going to take my trolling motor and kind of keep my boat going a little faster than the current. so I can cover as much ground as possible. It'll also kind of give the bait a swinging action with the current, because the boat's moving faster than the current. There's not really a cadence or a pattern to the number of pops I'm doing here. I want it to look as sporadic, you know, like a bait fish getting away from something that's chasing it. So I don't really have like a set number of pops. I will say though that that first initial cast, when you put it in against the bank, you want to get, you know, maybe 7 to 9 immediate pops for anything that might be sitting right there. I'm leaving slack in my line when I'm working this bait. Just a little bit, just enough to pop it. I don't know if you can hear that noise on the mic right now, but that's my line slapping the water, because I am jerking the slack out of it each time. So by doing what I was just talking about, by, you know, leaving that little bit of slack in the line and popping the slack on top of the water, it's causing the bait to walk side to side. If you're familiar with bass fishing, there's a lure called the Zara Spook. If you work it properly, it walks across the top of the water in the same motion. That's what you want to get. That's the motion that you want to get when you're throwing this. If you're not working it fast enough, or, you know, leaving that slack in your line, you're not getting that action. And that action is what triggers that reaction bite from the browns. So you definitely want to make sure that you're doing that. If you're not a little bit worn out after the first 20 minutes of working one of these, you're probably not doing it right. Now once I work it off the bank and I get those first initial 7 to 9 or 10 jerks directly off the cast, you know, I'll do some sporadic action, and then I'll be like a 1 second pause, and then I keep going. Something to note is that the brown trout really don't like much of a pause. Like I said, that little 1 second pause I'm giving it there, and then I keep working it. The rainbows, not that they won't hit it moving that fast, they actually kind of prefer hitting it on the pause. So if you're fishing for, you know, if you're looking for a rainbow as well, and you're not just specifically trying to target brown trout, you can pop it a few times and give it like a 2 second, 3 second pause, like this. I find that a lot of the bigger fish that I've caught, rainbow or brown though, you know, the real trophy size ones, they all seem to hit it when it's moving without much of a pause. We're going to go ahead, move down to the next spot. Get a little closer to Monkey Island. Alright. So, we started off on the bluff side below those docks. Now I'm over on the opposite side, shallow side. Turn the camera that way. On this side, you actually don't want to cast all the way against the bank. So I pull my boat out maybe a little farther than we are right now. And I'm going to throw within 20 or 30 feet of the bank. It's pretty shallow up there. And all the browns that I've caught in this area have all been halfway between me and the boat. So I'm going to work the boat out here a little ways. Now that bluff that I was working down a second ago is one that I probably may have worked all the way down it until I got to this point. You know, keeping the trolling motor going and working it a little faster. Oh, there was one right there. I wasn't paying attention. Dang it. It wasn't a very big one, but he came up after it. But I probably would have worked that bluff all the way down to this point and then shot across to over here. But I'm trying to just hit some spots here, kind of show you guys a few of the areas and how I work them. But if you got more time, then I definitely recommend working that whole thing. Something else to keep your eye out on early in the morning and late in the evening, like we're getting to right now. Keep your eyes on the water, okay? At early in the morning and late in the evening, these brown trout will start busting schools of shad, or, you know, little schools of baby rainbows, stalker rainbows. And if you're ever out here in the evening or in the morning, you'll see fish jumping. But this looks a lot different. It'll be, you know, simultaneous jumps, and the fish that are jumping out of the water will kind of look like, instead of just doing a straight up jump, they'll be looking like they're trying to get away from something. And you'll probably see the browns bust the surface after them. So keep your eyes out for that, for if you ever see that down here. And if you do see it, get your boat over there as fast as possible, without spooking them, obviously. And start fishing your jerkbait right into the middle of that action. Because it's usually a brown or a couple of browns chasing after a school of either, you know, some type of bait fish, whether it's rainbows or shad or whatever it may be. That's what they're doing. And if you can get in the middle of that, you'll probably catch one of those browns. Rob Dickerson, who's back staying with us again, him and his friend were out the other night, and they came across one of those schools of shad getting busted, and they managed to get there. They were close enough to get over there in time, and they wound up catching some decent fish out of it, a couple big browns. So be on the lookout for that always. It usually doesn't happen in the middle of the day. It's just a morning and evening thing. This rainbow signature series is always a good lure to throw. Or if you've got any other deep diving jerk baits in a similar color, a rainbow trout. You know, the brown trout eat rainbows all year round. So it's not something you can necessarily go wrong with. Early in the morning and late in the evening right now, there's a signature series. It's called the French Pearl, is the paint job on it. I think I caught some grass. It's getting shallow over there. The French Pearl is a good bet. Yep. I find that it's pretty good if it's a cloudy day, but early in the morning and late in the evening, it also works very well. There's plenty of other companies that make a version of the French Pearl, or a pearled bait. Mega Bass has one. Lucky Craft has one. I'm sure XPS Bass Pro brand has one that I don't know about. Spro makes one. So you can certainly find some that are in the budget. And we actually sell, I know we sell the Spro one in the shop. And we have another company, I can't remember their name right now, that has one too. One thing I didn't mention though is that you really want the bait to be a suspending bait. If it's a bait that floats up, as soon as you stop that thing and it starts floating, the trout are gonna realize that it's not real. Unless you just keep it working the whole time without ever putting any stop in it. That suspended action is really key out here. So once you get down this far, we're getting pretty close to Monkey Island. The front side of the island here, about 100 something, I don't know, maybe even 200 feet off the front of this island, is actually a big flat. It shallows up. It's about the same depth all through here. And with this much water running, it may not be much deeper than 10 or 12 foot. Bait dives 7 to 9 feet. So you're getting it where even if they were setting on the bottom, they're going to be able to see the action on that bait. You know, even if they were setting all the way down there. So I'm going to scoot out towards this flat and we're going to throw some casts across this flat. Oh, that's a fish. Oh, it's a big brown. Oh my gosh. Oh. So just like I was saying, right here on the flat, I really hope he stays on. Whenever they start jumping like that, they're really good at throwing the hook. I'm doing the one cast right now too. It's big. I'm doing the one cast. He is really wanting to fly out of the water. I'm really hoping that I got him hooked good. Landing a big fish like this is hard to do by yourself. Something to note is that you really want to have your drag set right, and you want to have a reel with good drag when you're doing this, because it's so easy for them to break the line if you've got the drag set really hard. He is really tugging on me here. I might have a chance to net him. Nope, he's running still. I hope you guys can see that on the camera. I don't want him to shake his head like that. I'm gonna guess that this fish, just off of a guess, is at least 7 or 8 pounds. Got him. All right, so I've got my tackle box here. I'm gonna keep him down in the water, try to get this jerkbait out of him. I'm shaking like a leaf. And there he's free. And so, like I was saying, that flat right there isn't too deep, especially when the water's running like it is. And it's a really good spot to try to find a brown. That's Rob Dickerson in the background and his buddy that were making the noise there. Alright, I got the jerkbait out. Beautiful, beautiful brown trout. Let's see if I can get him up for the camera here. This might be the biggest fish I've caught in a while. There he is. Beautiful big spots. Get him on the scale here. And he's gonna go 24 inches. Beautiful, beautiful trout. Get him back down in the water. Whew. Well, I wanted to give an example of how to work the jerkbait and some of the areas that we've been catching them in, and I think that's about as good of an example as I could make. We thank you guys for watching. Like and share us on Facebook. We'll do it again tomorrow. Thanks, guys.